Today, we're going to unravel a story that connects two parts of American history you'd never, ever think belong together. On the surface, they have nothing in common, but let's see where this thread leads us. So, on one hand, you've got the really harsh, systematic world of government-run Indian assimilation schools. I mean, these places were designed to methodically erase entire cultures. And then, on the other hand, you have the idyllic, wholesome world of New England summer camps, created to build character through nature and just having fun. At first glance, these two worlds just couldn't be farther apart.
But they are connected. And it's not by some abstract idea. It's by a single, really complex family story that tells us so much about history, memory, and what it means to survive. And that link, well, that's the heart of our story today.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to step into each of these very different American worlds, one by one. And we're going to start with the difficult one, the government's so-called civilizing machine. So, picture this. It's the 1890s. The Indian Wars are basically over, and the U.S. government shifts its strategy. It wasn't about outright war anymore. It was about cultural erasure. And the primary tool for this new kind of battle? Education. Specifically, a whole network of schools designed to sever Native children from their families, their languages, and their traditions. And this new war needed new soldiers. One of them was a man named Jesse H. Bradley. Now, he was born to a poor Kansas family in 1867. Bradley wasn't some zealot or a missionary. He was simply a man looking for a steady paycheck. And in 1893, he saw an ad for teachers at these federally funded Indian schools, and he applied. For the next 10 years, this job took him all across the American West. I mean, we're talking from the Pacific Northwest all the way to the desert Southwest. He was right there on the front lines of this assimilation policy, working in all sorts of schools in a huge range of Native communities. His day-to-day duties were crystal clear. He was there to enforce the government's vision of what progress looked like. Students were flat out forbidden from speaking their own languages. Their hair was cut short, they were put into uniforms, and they were taught trades like farming. All of it meant to completely replace their traditional way of life. And Bradley meticulously documented all of this through photography, often taking pictures in this really stark before and after style. Just look at this one. These are two young Lakota men. The man on the left, who Bradley actually labeled savage, is in traditional attire. The one on the right, labeled civilized, is wearing a police uniform. This one image just powerfully sums up the entire goal of the whole project. But here's where the story gets really complicated. This is the central paradox of Jesse Bradley's life. Even as he's working as an agent of cultural destruction, he was also deeply, deeply fascinated by the cultures he was encountering. He became an obsessive collector of nearly 1,000 artifacts, preserving things like beaded clothing, ceremonial items, and tools. He was meticulously documenting the very traditions his job required him to help erase. Now hold that very complicated image of Jesse Bradley in your mind. We're going to hit pause on the American West for a moment and travel to a completely different world, the idyllic summer camps of New England. Right around the same time Bradley was navigating his complex role out west, a whole new movement was taking hold back east. You have these educators, Harvey and Margaret Newcomer, who founded Camp Wyoda. It was part of this bigger wave of summer camps designed to give kids a healthy, character-building escape from city life. The mission of Camp Wyoda was just wholesome and clear. It was a world of sunshine and recreation. Campers spent their days learning how to swim and canoe on Lake Fairley, riding horses, and studying nature. It was all intended to foster personal growth and a sense of community. And Camp Wyoda became this cherished institution run by the Newcomer family for 3 generations. For countless families, a summer at Wyoda was a rite of passage, a place of really fond memories that were passed down from parents to their children. So, we have 2 stories. One of cultural conflict in the American West, the other of idyllic summers in New England. Now, it's finally time to connect them with that unseen thread. The hidden link. It's not just an idea or some theme. It's a family. It all comes down to a single marriage that would unknowingly weave together these 2 profound and profoundly different American experiences. Okay, here's the connection. You have Jesse H. Bradley, the Indian school teacher. He had a son named Cyril. Cyril grew up to become a plant scientist, And he married a woman named Eleanor Newcomer. Yep, the daughter of the very people who founded Camp Wyoda. Eleanor would even go on to co-direct the camp herself, creating this direct personal link between two opposing worlds. This incredible connection, it just forces us to look at Jesse Brottley's collection in a totally new light. It's not just some random assortment of artifacts, it's a family inheritance with a deeply complex meaning. So, how are we supposed to understand this legacy? Is Brottley's collection just a tragic catalog of cultural loss? Is it a kind of colonial trophy case? Or is there a deeper story hidden inside these objects? To really understand, we need a new word, survivance. It was coined by the Anishinaabe scholar Gerald Vizenor, and the idea is simple but so powerful. It's more than just survival. It's about active resistance, creative adaptation, and just insisting on your own presence, your own story in the face of erasure. It transforms a story of victimhood into a story of endurance. And when you look at the collection through the lens of survivance, the objects totally transform. A rawhide drum that was made when ceremonies were outlawed is no longer just a drum. It's an act of defiance. Beaded clothing that incorporates new materials isn't a sign of dilution. It's a sign of dynamic adaptation. These aren't passive relics. These are objects made by Native people for Native people in the most difficult circumstances imaginable. They embody the creative choices and the sheer will to persist that really define the story of survivance. And that's why this collection, preserved by such a strange twist of fate, is so important. It doesn't let us look away. It forces us to confront the tangible reality of this history, both the attempt at destruction and, even more importantly, the incredible resilience of those who endured it. The Brottley Newcomer family history holds two powerful, conflicting American stories in a single frame. It forces us to ask a really difficult question. What defines us more? The histories we choose to celebrate, like a perfect summer at camp, or the histories we are forced to confront, like the legacy of these schools?